Hi everybody and welcome to Condish Soundcheck. I'm Scott.
No, wait.
And today we are starting our look at the discography of AFI. Whatever you decide AFI stands for, go with it.
We're gonna American Film Institute. Whatever. We're doing something different. We're gonna do the first 3 albums in one sitting right here because we were originally.
Oh, that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we were gonna, because the issue I was having was we were supposed to do this 2 weeks ago, and to make sure we get this whole discography done by the end of the year, we're going to do the first 3. And frankly, I can only talk 10 minutes about all 3 combined.
Okay, yeah, Wade is not a big fan of the AFI hardcore punk era.
I'm going to say it now.
I am?
Because here's the thing with me. When I listened to AFI, when I got into AFI, it was The Black Sail, Sing the Sorrow, around that time. And this is before that, and it's kind of like, when I know where they're at, I've not listened to anything past Sing the Sorrow, so
you don't know where they're at now.
Yeah, but
you just know where they were then.
Yeah, so I know like where this hardcore is going to lead to, and I'm just kind of like, maybe it's just because I'm just waiting for that.
Now I'm really interested because, like you say, you've never listened to anything from December Underground up. I have. I have listened to their complete discography. I gave up on them at December Underground, but then like last year, 2 years ago, I went through and listened to everything up until Burials, and because I think Burials had just come out, so I did that, and then recently I listened to the Blood album. So I liked them. I like where they've gone. I'm just curious how you're gonna feel because I know you don't like the hardcore stuff. So let's get into it with the very first AFI full-length album, Answer That and Stay Fashionable. I thought before we go any further, I know at the very least you would appreciate the cover, being Reservoir Dogs themed. Reservoir Dogs themed samples throughout the album.
I don't like their. When I say I don't like their hardcore punk, I like it. I just think there's nothing. When you listen to the album, there's a few songs that might stand out, but a lot of them don't stand out.
I disagree. I'm not saying that it's like hit after hit after hit, but I'll put it to you this way: when we get to the worst, you'll be disappointed in what I pick as my worst. But I really, like I said, I like this album. This was not my introduction to them. My introduction to them was actually the second album, Very Proud of Ya. But this album, after I heard that album, was like, okay, I want to hear their first album first. Because I like doing discographies in order.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to like mix and match. I want to go, because I like the evolution. But I remember listening to this album and just like, for the first time as a teenager, just being blown away.
What's your, okay, so we're doing something different. This is a new sound check. It's like we're doing something different.
New sound check, new rules.
We're doing, the hits, the misses. Well, I gotta say the hits, the skips, but we're not doing the hidden gems.
Well, that's good because I couldn't pick one song particularly. Like I think they're all really good. But my favorite song on here is I wanna get a Mohawk.
That is mine.
I love that song because when I first heard it, like I said, I was a teenager. I wanted to get a Mohawk. But in reality, why I like it so much is like when you listen to the lyrics, as simple as they are, it basically talks about like a child like rebellion or a teenage rebellion. That's so basic. It's not. It's like like I'm not trying to change the world. I'm not trying to bring down empires. I just want a haircut and go to a show.
Since you picked that one, I'll do something different. I'll do Checker Demon.
Checker Demon's good too.
Yeah, I'll do that one. But Mohawk is my favorite.
Yeah, I just think it's like the most pure like teenage song. You know what I mean? Like it feels like a teenager wrote it. It's performed like a teenager wrote it. It's just really good. I enjoy it.
What is your skip?
My skip, if I had to pick one, would be Brownie Bottom Sunday. Of all the songs, it's like I said, I had to pick a worst. I'm going with this one just because it's the one song that I can never remember the title. I actually had to look at it just now to remember the title. Probably because of the alliteration. But like I said, I still like it.
Mine is Rizzo in the Box.
You don't like Rizzo in the Box? That's actually one of their better songs from that era.
It was one of those things like, I listened to this 3 times in a row. It was the one I skipped.
The song or the album?
The album.
Okay.
I've listened to it like a lot, like back in the, a couple of years ago, or whatever, but I've re-listened to it 3 years for three times, and this was the one I skipped on time 2 and 3.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It just did nothing for me.
Well,
like I said, there's no bad song in this album, but there's rare great ones. They're all fine.
I can see that more for this album, but moving on to the next album,
yes,
Very Proud of You, which I think took everything they did on the first album. Like, I feel like the albums in this era do get better as they move on to certain extents.
Yeah.
Certain extents. But this album, I think the only thing that holds this album back truly is the fact that 2 of the songs were on the last album.
Yeah.
Your Friend of Mine and Two of a Kind were on the first album. And honestly, re-recording, they don't sound that much different. There's not much, I would say, to differentiate them. I mean, I've heard this album so many times, I already know what they sound like. Like you skip the ones, I skip these songs, so I'm like, I already heard them. I don't need to hear them.
This album is much better than the first album. I'll say that. Very Proud of You is much better, because I'll say this album starts with a good 1-2 punch.
Oh, with He Who Laughs Last.
And File 13.
And not only that, but like, this is where I feel like they really wanted to start experimenting with getting more melodic.
Yes.
And I definitely think, my favorite song, which I'll just get right into, is This Secret Ninja. I think is a great example of that. I think Cult Status, Soapbox Derby.
Mine is Advances in Modern Technology.
Advances in Modern Technology is another really good one,
I think that one, that's the song where you can see, like, the gears turning.
Yeah. I just love Secret Ninja because, like, it's just a really good song. It's super catchy. You know, it's like once it's there, you can't get it out.
What do you think is your least favorite?
My least favorite song on the album is Crop Tub. Only because I don't like the effect. The effect on Davey's voice.
I'll say mine is Wake Up Call.
You didn't like Wake Up Call?
When you go from, the first 2 songs,
right.
I'm not counting the intro, I'm not counting that. And then after that is Cult Status.
Yeah.
You're like, this song is just not as good as the other ones.
Well, yeah, but you got to build to the next one. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. That's a little inside joke of this past Condish podcast.
But like I said, I really like this album. I think I like to think of it as Answer That and Stay Fashionable on steroids.
Yeah. Also, after in between Advances in Modern Technology and Secret Ninja's Theory of Revolution, that's also a really good song. Like I said, that song Wake Up Call is sandwiched between 2 great songs. And then 3 or 4 great songs right here, and you're just like,
well, look at it this way: if they didn't sandwich it, you might not have noticed one or the other of those 2 songs being as good as they are.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It gave you that little time to breathe. But like I said, I really like this album. I think this was where they really started experimenting with getting more melodic, which I think was the best decision they could have made, because Davey Havok has a great voice.
Yes.
To some, I know he's not their idea of a singer, but I think he's got a great voice, very unique voice. Yeah. Like, Davey Havok when you hear it.
Yeah. And moving on to the third album.
Yes, Shut Your Mouth and Open Your Eyes.
And trust me, they make sure it's the third album.
Oh yeah, a lot of thirds in this. Third season, 3-second warning. There's another 3, but I can't remember what it is.
I'll do them all. 3 reasons.
3 reasons.
Third season, 3 seconds notice, and 000.
000, that's it. And
it's 14 songs, and it's not divisible by 3.
Yeah, because they wanted to get you.
But this album, I think, so you get to Very, Very Proud of You. This one's kind of a step down for me in writing, but recording and mixing wise, it's better.
I wouldn't go that far. I think this is where they really wanted to start experimenting. What's funny is it has 14 songs, yet this is like their shortest record at this point. Their first record was like 51 minutes. Yeah. Their next album was about like 40-some minutes. This one's not even a half an hour long. You can finish this album in most like a decent length car ride.
Yes.
This is where I feel like the darkness was starting to get in them. Yeah. This is where I feel like they were starting to turn more towards the horror punk side during that whole Black Sails, Sing the Sorrow, Art of Drowning era. And I think this was a great transition album. I think AFI, what I like about AFI when they change, and if you listen to the records carefully, I don't want to say as a critic, but as a critic, if you listen to them carefully between like one album and then an album where they sound different, they always are smart enough to have a transition album that's just enough of the last album, but just enough of the new album, so when you get to the new album, it's smooth. And I think this album is that album. Like I said, it sounds darker, it feels darker. I think Davey's vocals were much more aggressive on this record than the other two. Probably on all the releases up until this point, not counting like the EPs, not counting like Dork, Fly in the Ointment, all that stuff. This is probably has some of his most aggressive vocals on it.
I think my favorite song is Third Season.
Third Season is my favorite song on there,
Really?
and I will tell you why.
Cool. We have the same
because
one.
it is the most diverse song of the whole album. It does not sound like...
That is exactly why I picked it.
It doesn't sound like anything else. I like his vocals on it. I think it shows off everything that is Davey Havok
at this time.
And this is
what I mean.
Record.
Maybe because I've listened to the future albums, maybe that's why, but... They've always got a lot of the songs they're different from each other. The past few albums have been like almost every song is the same. Like
are you
how he sings.
Well, wait, are you talking about
now?
now, or are you talking about as of the release of the third album?
As of the release of the third
Okay.
album. Like everything is just the same, kind of like it's just the same. Like just the little intro here with the guitar, and then the guitar is just kind of
But look where they came from.
And then you have Davey Havok just yelling the vocals. This is where he's starting to become a little bit more showing off. He doesn't have to scream.
But look where they came from. They came from hardcore punk, which if you're in hardcore punk or into hard punk or hardcore punk, you know that. And I don't mean to be a dick, but it's kind of true. Punk rockers, but to me, mostly like those who are really, really into the hardcore punk, like the old school, like DC, LA, like late 70s, early 80s hardcore punk, they don't like change. They want the same song over and over and over again. They want the same look every time. They essentially want the same thing just over and over and over again. And I think to an extent, because I know Davey was really into hardcore punk, I think, that kind of was what it was. And at this point, they're like, you know what? We put out 2 albums. We're doing really well. You know what? Let's experiment a little more. And I think, honestly, that decision to experiment more, starting with this album, really helped them stay around for, I think there were like 27 years.
Yeah.
Like it'll be 30 years in 2021, which is hard to believe that we're getting close to the 30th anniversary of AFI.
Least favorite song to skip for me is, what was it called? Coin Return.
You picked Coin Return?
Coin Return. That was a waste.
I didn't pick a bad song. I would say if I had to pick any of them, PH Low, maybe.
That was another one that was like, I can live without this song.
It was fine. Like I said, I don't really hate anything AFI did, so for me it's hard to pick a worse song, so if I had to pick one, I'll pick PH Low.
Okay, so the important thing is we're doing the rankings.
Right.
Of the first of the 3 hardcore albums. Okay, so I'll start.
Okay.
We're going to go through the best to the worst. Not the worst.
Well, I have a feeling you're going to reverse chronological.
No. I'm going number 1. Very proud of you.
Really thought you'd pick the third album.
No. Number 2 is the third album.
All right.
And then number 3, on the bottom, is the first album.
I had the same exact order.
Okay.
Yes, I feel the same way.
I think Very Proud of You has better songs, more memorable songs, more memorable. The first 2 songs are so memorable to me. Then look at the third album. The first few songs are not that memorable. They're like,
regardless. I was gonna say, regardless of anything, the second album is better than the first album.
If you have iTunes, say iTunes, you buy the album. Eventually, you're gonna siphon off the songs you don't listen to make room for memory. I would siphon off more off the third album than I will on the first 2 albums. That's how I do my judging on the albums.
But what I was saying was, obviously, the second album is better than the first album. But when it comes to the third album, while I like the experimental nature of it, I thought some of it, like some songs I felt more effort was given to than the others, but they still weren't bad.
Yeah. That's our thoughts on it.
Yeah, so join us next time when we take a look at, Black Sails and Sunset. Or Black Sails at Sea. Sorry, I don't know why I said Sunset.
Yes, Black Sails at Sea.
Yes.
Let me make sure of that. Black Sails in the Sunset.
Black Sails in the Sunset. So I said it right
You
the first
said
time.
it right. I was like, wait a minute, is he right?
I said it right. I said it right the first time. All right, cool. I know my shit.
I've always known as Black Sails.
Yeah, well, I think there was an EP just called Black Sails, which is why
I just call it Black Sails because I don't want to
And speaking of EPs, if you're good, we will do an AFI EP rank episode.
Yeah.
So
that'll be separate though.
So stay tuned for that. And I think we'll do it after The Missing Man. So we'll put the new album in there. Or the new EP in there. Fuck it. Send them to fans.
Yes.
So until next time, guys, I'm Scott.
And now, Wayne, be sure to subscribe, comment, and all that. We forgot to mention that. Subscribe and also share this video. Please, to spread the word of Soundcheck. Let's so we can do more. I would like to do more bands, but, until we reach a certain number, I don't want to do too many shows, you know what I mean? If there's a huge demand, then share it, man. Share it, or ma'am.
And remember that rock and roll never forgets.
And neither do we!
See you next time.